Hello, everyone. In this presentation, we'll be discussing some psychological aspects of music and how music affects the psychology of human, and we'll be discussing therapeutic aspects of sound. This presentation is presented by Maya Sharkawi, Yasmin Abdurrahman, Yusuf Hagiza, and Habiba Saudi. So today we'll first have a small introduction about music therapy and sound therapy. Then we'll discuss the difference between music therapy and sound therapy. Then we'll discuss the different types of music therapy, and we'll discuss the different types of sound healing with more in-depth discussion. And finally, we'll have some concluding notes. So to start off with the introduction, why did we choose this topic specifically? So music healing or music therapy is an unknown science at this point, and it is related to a very important issue, which is mental health. However, and despite being a bit unknown, it's getting more popular and more known at this point. And it has been predicted that sound therapy or sound healing will be deeply integrated in the medicine in the future. And mainly we'll be discussing two different types of therapies, which are music therapy and sound therapy. So first, to start, what's the difference between sound therapy and music therapy? Music therapy is relatively a new discipline, while sound therapy has been around for quite some time right now. It has been around since the ancient times of Tibetan culture's practices. Another technical difference is that sound therapy uses tools to achieve specific sound frequencies. While on the other hand, music therapy addresses specific symptoms like stress and pain.
Also, the training and certifications for sound therapy are not as standardized as those for music therapists. Lastly, music therapists often work in hospitals, substance abuse treatment centers, or private practices, while sound therapists may offer their service as a component of complementary or alternative medicine. Moving to the types of music therapy, there are 4 of them, including analytic, which encourages you to use and improvise musical dialogue where you sing or play an instrument. You reflect upon your playing because it demonstrates a part of how you're feeling, and then you reflect and discuss with your therapist afterwards what you reached. Secondly, Binanzan, which combines some concepts of psychoanalysis with the process of making music and includes the search for your musical sound identity, which describes the external sounds that most closely match your internal psychological state. The third type of music therapy is cognitive behavioral music therapy. This approach actually combines cognitive behavioral therapy with music. In this type of therapy, music is used to reinforce some behaviors and modify others. This approach is structured, not improvisational, and may include listening to music, dancing, singing, or playing an instrument. Afterwards, moving to the other type, Nordoff Robinson's music therapy. It is also called creative music therapy. This method involves playing an instrument, often a cymbal or drum, while therapist accompanies using another instrument. The improvisational process uses music as a way to help enable self-expression. Moving on to the next slide, the next type of music therapy is the Bonney method of guided imagery and music. This form of therapy uses classical music as a way to stimulate the imagination. In this method, you explain the feelings, sensations, memories, and imagery you experience while listening to the music. Lastly, the vocal psychotherapy. In this type of music therapy, you use various vocal exercises, natural sounds, and breathing techniques to connect with your emotions and impulses. This practice is meant to create a deeper sense of connection with yourself. Now, Habiba will start talking about the types of sound therapy.
Hi everyone, my name is Habiba Saoudi, and today I'm going to be talking to you about one of my favorite music therapy instruments, which is the Tibetan singing bowl. I'm sure you're all wondering what's the Tibetan singing bowl, so let me tell you a bit about that. A Tibetan singing bowl is a type of bell that vibrates and produces a rich, deep tone when played. It's also known as Himalayan bowls. Tibetan singing bowls are said to promote relaxation and offer powerful healing properties. Now, another question that you might have is where they originated from. In fact, there's a debate about the exact origin of the Tibetan singing bowl, although there's some evidence that they might have originated in China sometime around the 16th century. Some believe that they haven't been originated in China. The traditional bowls were originally made out of a variety of metals, including mercury, lead, silver, iron, and gold. During the 1970s, people began importing the bowls to the West, and they grew in popularity in the 1990s as a complementary alternative treatment to a variety of illnesses. There are various benefits to the bowls, but today I'm only going to be talking about 6. First of all, stress relief. Some research supports the use of Tibetan singing bowls as a way to promote relaxation and reduce feelings of anxiety. Second, improve sleeping. Because singing bowl therapy has been linked to decreased anxiety and tension, it may be helpful for improving sleep. Third, reducing depression. Many studies linked singing bowl therapy to improvements in mood that suggested that this approach may be a low-cost way to help reduce symptoms of depression. Furthermore, stimulating the immune system. Some also claim that the Tibetan singing bowls can stimulate the immune system and produce beneficial changes in brain waves. Moving on to the next slide, another benefit of the Tibetan bowl is balancing and harmonizing the body. Many researchers claim that the vibrations of a singing bowl can produce beneficial changes in the body by harmonizing the cells and balancing the body's energy system. Lastly, enhancing other healing practices. Some people use the bowls in combination with other healing practices, such as meditation and deep breathing. I, for example, like to meditate while playing a video of the Tibetan bowls, and it really relaxes me and makes me feel very happy and relaxed. The last thing that I'm going to mention today is the impact of Tibetan singing bowls. A few different theories have been proposed to explain why Tibetan singing bowls might be beneficial. Such theories suggest that, firstly, the vibrations that the bowls produce may affect the mind and the body. Secondly, the sounds that the bowls create may impact brain waves in order to induce relaxation. And lastly, these bowls may induce the same psychological effects and benefits as actually going to therapy. And now I want you guys to close your eyes and listen to this piece in order to actually get the chance to experience all of the aforementioned benefits that I've mentioned before. So the next type of sound therapy is classical music. The classical period started in Western music between about 1750 and 1820. However, the term classical music is used in an informal sense as a synonym for Western art music, which describes a variety of Western musical styles from the 9th century up till now, and especially from the 16th or 17th to the 19th century. There are 5 overlapping periods of classical music that we will not go into details at, but briefly they are the Gothic period, the Renaissance, the Baroque, the Classical, and Romance. Now moving on to the benefits of classical music. Classical music has been known to make us smarter. Actually, some experts promote playing classical music to help babies' brain development when they sleep. But aside from making us smart and babies, this particular type of music can also promote mental health. And here are some examples of how classical music can foster our mental health and well-being. First of all, classical music helps us connect with our emotions. One of the most important forces of mental health therapy is human connection. Finding other people who are going through the same things you are is one of the most effective ways
to get over any mental health challenges. There is an article by Classical NPR Notes that states that sad music validates our own emotions of sorrow, grief, and loneliness. When we listen to other people's sad songs, it helps us feel connected to all those who have suffered the same emotions, which can be enormously comforting. The second thing is that the classical music helps in promoting productivity. There are days where all we want to do is just sit, relax in bed, and not to do anything. Actually, too much of this can lead to the deterioration of our mental health. The Journal of Experimental Psychology found that a person's boredom and the complexity of their task is related to whether or not music contributed to productivity. Also, a licensed clinical psychologist, Catherine Jackson, says that research suggests listening to music helps make repetitive tasks easier, and is why it is sometimes recommended to listen to music at work or while completing chores at home. Actually, this is what I personally do while studying. In order to overcome laziness and boredom, I suggest you guys try to do it while studying for finals week next week. Also, classical music is considered to be a stress and anxiety relief. A lot of studies are finding that music helps lower cortisol levels, which are associated with stress. A post by Lotoland on how music is good for your health states that it also increases blood flow by 26%, laughter by 16%, and relaxation by 11%. A study by Oxford University found that participants who listened to classical music had significantly lower blood pressure than participants who did not hear any music. A study found that groups of people that suffered chronic pain felt less pain after listening to classical music than people who didn't. Classical music is considered as a natural pain relief. It is a very difficult task to keep stress levels down, especially these days. So some people turn to yoga and others turn to music. Also, if you listen to your favorite piece around 45 minutes before you sleep, it can definitely improve the sleep quality. Lastly, classical music helps in building social relationships. Music is universal. Classical music in particular promotes this universality through emotive instruments. Even if the piece does involve a foreign language, the instruments work to convey the feelings of the song. That being said, music is also a great way to counter loneliness and isolation. Music actually allows you to connect with others who share the same taste as you. So now, this is an example of classical music. We will just hear a part of it in order to understand what I'm talking about and how it is considered as like a stress relief and pain relief, and how people actually use it for therapy reasons. This piece is a romantic classical piece. Now, moving on to the next type of sound healing.
Moving to Om chanting, it was used in Hindu traditions and Buddhist practices. It has 3 root sounds, and as funny as they may sound, they are ah, ooh, and they symbolize the impure body, speech, and mind of the regular practitioner. Simultaneously, they also signify the elevated body, speech, and mind of the enlightened Buddha. So the Om mantra chant encompasses everything between the impure Bodhisattva, I hope I pronounced it correctly, and the enlightened Buddha. It has many names,
such as the itself has many names, such as the Pranava, which equals also the life force mantra. There are other alternatives like Ashara, which means indestructible, Ekakshara, meaning one-lettered mantra, Omkara, and Udikhta. I also hope I pronounced that one correctly. There are endless benefits to chanting. However, I chose the most important four in my point of view. The first one is that it creates a deeper connection with our subconscious minds. And that is because our brains are a source of our imagination. And when our imagination is compounded, structured, it gives us our intelligence. And our intelligence gives us the capability to think outside nature and reverse its flow. Secondly, it has cardiovascular benefits by which, by relaxing our mind and body, our blood pressure will decrease and our heart will beat with regular rhythm. And that is because the rhythmic pronunciation and vibrations have a calming effect on the body and the nervous system. Thirdly, your spinal cord is strengthened through the vibrations caused by the sound of ah, and it's going to be demonstrated in the video that I'm going to play in the later slides. And lastly, it improves your concentration and helps you focus. An on-paper published in 2008 in the International Journal of Computer Science and Network Security explored how steadiness of mind can be achieved by chanting Om. The Om symbol consists of 5 symbols. These 5 symbols are 4 curves and 1 point. And the 4 different curves represent 4 different states of consciousness, and the point represents the greatest version of the self. The upper curve represents the state of deep sleep or the unconscious state. The lower curve represents the waking state of consciousness. This is when we use all our 5 senses. The third curve stems from the common point of the waking and sleeping states. This represents the dreaming where you are neither unconscious nor awake. The detached semicircle forms the 4th curve, and it represents Maya, which is funny since my name is Maya, which means the illusion of life. Interesting. It sits between the consciousness and the circle that represents Samadhi. Fun fact, since we discussed in class how music is used for religious purposes and rituals, is chanted at ceremonies, rituals, weddings, and even funerals. This is Jamie Perry. She was depressed. So she went to a yoga studio where was chanted 108 times. And she said that after attending that session, she felt better, she was less depressed, and she found inner peace. She said scientific studies have found that chanting can decrease stress, anxiety, and depressive symptoms, as well as increase positive mood, feelings of relaxation, and focused attention. It is possible that regardless of the tradition or belief system involved in the chanting practice, chanting may have a physiological and psychological effect no matter what you are chanting. And that is because repetitive vocal chanting can have direct effect on the parasympathetic nervous system, as it can slow breathing and activate vagus nerve. She was very intrigued and surprised by the results by just chanting Om. So she wanted to conduct a study, and she did. As she was a professor as well. According to her results of 2016, in addition to that, backing up her study, Professor Bill Thompson and Dr. Vince Polito, also from the Macquarie University, found out that chanting universal mantra Om for 10 minutes improved attention, contributed towards a positive mood, and increased feelings of social cohesion. Also, another study published in the American Journal of Psychiatry in 2018 found that mantra repetition therapy, which involves silently repeating spiritually related word or phrase selected by each individual from a recommended list, was effective in treating veterans diagnosed with military-related post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD. This is a small 1-minute video talking about the deep meditation and the effects of chanting.
Finding fulfillment and happiness is a lifelong journey. We spend our lives trying to achieve inner peace and long-term satisfaction. We work hard, become successful, buy things, work out, and travel. The truth is, external stimuli can only bring temporary joy, not true fulfillment. That's why we have Om Chanting by Bhakti Marga. Om Chanting is an ancient group practice that helps you find the solution within. Here's how. Om Chanting promotes inner peace, mental clarity, emotional freedom, and physical health. Many experience positive shifts, allowing them more joy and love in their lives. Om Chanting generates a vibrational frequency that releases negativity, transforms it, and showers participants with positive energy. These vibrational frequencies spread out in a 2-kilometer radius, creating a harmonious environment and unity between you and nature. As a result, participants are able to find fulfillment, joy, and peace within themselves. Want to see for yourself? Join us at one of our circles near you.
And lastly, for my part, this is like a 5-minute deep meditation video where the Om sound is being played. I want you to know that the minutes or the seconds between each Om is meant for you to find inner peace and connect with your mind. So I want you to join the experience and sing Om along with the video and try to find peace, especially with the stressful time that we're at with the finals.
And finally, moving to our last type. And finally, moving to our last type of sound healing, which is gong path. So to start with gong path, we need to first know what is a gong. So a gong is a percussion instrument that originally started in East Asia and Southeast Asia. It's a flat circular metal disc that's typically struck with a mallet, and it produces a soothing, relaxing sound. So in gong paths, participants usually lie down and get comfortable sleeping on pillows and in comfortable blankets, and they perform a form of inactive meditation where they are physically not moving or not active, and they bath in the healing vibrations and sounds of gong sound. While lying down, a facilitator or the host, basically someone who's not among the participants, starts hitting the gong with the mallet. And as I just mentioned, the gongs start producing soothing sounds that help the participants relax during the session. What's interesting about this is that sessions do not necessarily need to be done in person, so we can have sessions that take place over a video or virtually just by listening to recordings of gong sounds, for example. And this form of healing or this type of sessions is not new. Actually, it has been around and it dates back to ancient cultures such as in Egyptian, Greek, and Roman times. And now we'll listen to a sample of gong and how it sounds to get an idea of how it looks like. As we can see, it produces a calm, soothing sound in which the participants start to relax and meditate. But there is a similar type of therapy or healing that's called sound path. So what's the difference between gong path and sound path? So the two terms, gong path and sound path, can be used interchangeably sometimes. However, the key difference between them is the instrument being used. So both types produce a state of calm and deep relaxation by using the sound. However, sound path can use other instruments other than gong, such as crystal singing bowls or Himalayan singing bowls, and as well as some other instruments. While gong path usually, or not usually, always use gongs only. And now we will listen to a small sample of sound path that's not using gong to realize the difference between them. As we can see, we can notice a significant difference between the two different sounds and while the previous sound used gongs to induce the calming sound, this video is using crystal bowls. Next, moving on to the benefits of gong path. So why are we going through all of this, and why are we using gongs and gong path? So first of all, according to a study done in 2017, music therapy, this type of music therapy can result in reducing symptoms of depression and promote the overall mood. Furthermore, it improves the immune function or the immune system of our body, and it decreases the tension and anger and fatigue. Adding to that, gongs can be used to stimulate what's called an altered state of consciousness. So an altered state of consciousness is a state where the individual experiencing this has a better overall functioning mental functionality. So the human experiencing this experiences a better functionality in terms of thinking and overall focus. Finally, it also helps relaxing the brain into what's called alpha dominant or theta dominant brainwave states, which are a very deep relaxation states of the brain that keeps the person in a very calm and relaxed and happy state in general.
To conclude, I'm sure that after listening to this presentation, now you guys are well aware of the benefits of music therapy and sound therapy. We encourage you guys to integrate music therapy and sound therapy in your day-to-day life, as it really has a lot of benefits, as we have mentioned before. And just listening to a 30-second video or a 1-minute video on a day-to-day basis of music therapy or sound therapy will make you much happier and much less stressed and more relaxed. Before ending today, I would just like to remind you about the difference between music therapy and sound therapy. Music therapy targets problems such as stress and discomfort, whereas sound therapy uses instruments to achieve precise sound frequencies. Also, people listen to music to regulate arousal and mood, to achieve self-awareness, and also as an expression of social relateness. This is a saying by Thomas. And I hope you guys enjoyed our presentation today. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to share them with us. Thank you so much.
These are the references that we used. Thank you. Bye.